Thanks for tuning in, everybody. We have Mike, also known as the Gaff. How's it going?
It's going great, Anthony. How about yourself?
Oh, pretty good. Yeah.
Sweet.
I'd like to first say thank you very much for being my first guest on the podcast.
Numero uno.
Yeah, numero uno. So the reason I thought of you, is because you're really big into being a practitioner of the mind. You know, you're known as a producer, a DJ. I don't know if a lot of people know that you do a lot with the mind. Can you explain to us a little bit more about the other areas of your life?
Sure. Some people call me a modern day Renaissance man.
Okay.
So, not only do I produce music and DJ and collect records from around the world, specializing in funky music, but I'm also an acupuncturist, registered massage therapist, and energy healer, and I've studied internal martial arts for almost 20 years.
Yeah, and I just got an acupuncture massage from you just before recording this, and yeah, it feels awesome. Like, I think I can go back to the gym, but I'm going to give it a little more rest just so I don't re-injure myself, but I feel awesome, better than when the injury happened.
Well, I dosed you up with some special ginseng as well. So
yeah, and what are we drinking right now again?
Right now we're drinking a tea. I put in a base of gynostemma tea, and I added goji berries, rhodiola, reishi, and some Korean red ginseng into that. Yeah,
it's delicious.
Schizandra berries too.
Right.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. What we tried outside.
Yeah.
So, Mike, I'd like to know, and I think a lot of people would like to know, is when everything is really busy and hectic and you have a lot of things going on, how do you control your thoughts and stay focused on the tasks you need to accomplish?
How do I do that? Well, definitely, you hear time and time and again in these like self-help books of the benefits and value of meditation, and I got into meditation when I was pretty young, about 17, 18. Did a lot of artwork, and I'd go into a certain state of mind, and then I learned how to meditate. On top of that, I'd spend hours a day at times drinking green tea and meditating, and from there, meditation is a lifelong process of basically mind training.
Right.
And so there's lots of different varying techniques that have to do with one-pointedness of mind and focus. So when life is hectic like that, I have a series of things that I do. I either could go practice my Tai Chi form, or go through some simple sit down for a meditation for. Even if you do it 15, 20 minutes a day, regularly, as the years go by, you will find that it's cumulative. So, like your first time, a lot of times people quit, especially if they have a very active mind. They'll go and sit down and meditate. And they'd be like, meditation's not for me, it sucks.
Right.
And be like, well, yeah, like how long did you do? I tried it in my bedroom once or whatever. It's like, okay, as the years go by, then it's going to be a different story if you stick with it. So,
right. And they're just giving it a try, and you can't really give anything a try if you want to do it, because there is no try.
That's right. Do or do not, there is no try, said a wise Yoda.
Excellent. Well, can you tell me about a time when you felt like maybe it would have been easier to just quit and then do something normal?
Yeah, I can tell you about many times.
How did you get through that? What's the one that stands out most to you right now?
Well, the one that stands out most is, a lot of people when they're younger, they're influenced or susceptible to things and suggestions from their parents. You're not going to make it, or
right.
You're never going to make it doing this or that, and things like that. For me, I became a very young dad. My daughter was born when I was 21. And, especially having your partners tell you, you're never going to such and such and such.
Right.
So there comes the thing where you kind of, it's not to prove someone else wrong, but it's more to prove your inner direction right. And a lot of times, especially when you're creative on your own path, other people aren't going to understand it.
Right.
Like you do. And you might not even understand it. You just have a feeling that is what you're supposed to do.
Right, and you just follow it.
Yeah, and if you are actively following it, and sometimes that means active and sometimes it means passive. Obviously, if you're just laying in bed every day playing video games saying, don't worry, things are going to turn out. It's like you're not really doing much.
Right.
But, if, you're balancing the video games with, messaging and cultivating your other practices and pursuits and working on yourself in various levels of your being, then, you might be onto something that other people just aren't getting.
Right. Yeah, because intention is one thing, but to actually do it is another.
Yeah.
One thing I dealt with something similar myself, and I'm constantly on a daily basis, I've been going through things where I feel like maybe it'd be easier to quit. And, it gives me good motivation right now, hearing that from you. And
Yeah.
Yeah, it gets tough, hey?
It does.
What or who taught you that mindset?
Okay, well, I mean, because I have such a varied skill set, whenever one part of me wants to go yin, so it's not as active, yang in that department, another one often takes over. So I might go through a period where I'm not playing as many shows, and all of a sudden a whole bunch of people are booking in for acupuncture treatments or energy healings and things like that. And then all of a sudden that'll slow down and I haven't got a call in a while, but I've got music to work on that I've been putting off. And then I'll fill that up with that time. And then I'll go into a busy season, where say we just finished summer where all of a sudden I'm doing festivals and shows all the time. I'm actively DJing. I don't have time to work on music as much. And every time I come home, I'm working on people that need my help. So,
right.
I mean, now I'm 38 years old. I'm coming into my 40s almost. But when I was younger, I mean, where you're at, you're in your mid-20s or something?
I'm 27 now.
Yeah, okay. So, I mean, I definitely, in my early and mid-20s, I worked a day job working for other people. I don't know if you remember, I worked at 9 Times at the skateboard shop for many, many years. And if someone had told me back then, Gaff, if you just keep collecting your rare records and working on your music in your home, one day it's going to pay for you to travel around the world and support, putting you through school, I would have been like, you're full of shit, man. Yeah, I've been like, whatever. I'm like, that's not going to happen to me, right? And then it does, so you never really know, but I didn't really count on music to do that. When I was young, I was always very much interested in the abilities of the mind and basically similar to yourself, powers and things like that, right. Mental powers, and not in order to control people or anything like that, but
to control yourself.
To control myself and to see what the universe was made of and how, my mind and my consciousness interacted with the world around me. So that was my biggest interest. And then, of course, all of the psychic powers and things like that, to me, my main interest in them was not only using them in my own practice to develop myself, but of course to transfer that to help other people. I had a strong interest in helping people that were, unwell, basically.
Okay.
So that translated into my own unique path. And the music is just a bonus. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's almost like your meditation then.
Yeah, when I get into a zone, oh yeah, I can go for hours without, eating and the day is gone. But, similar when you're in a good video game or something like that. Yeah.
You have how many records here?
There's about 10,000 records all
10,
around. Yeah, between LPs and 45s, and there's more in the next room over there.
Okay.
And so, yeah.
Would you be able to pick out 6 random ones that we haven't spoke about or anything, and we'll just line them up here, and then we'll get to them in a moment, but
okay.
Would you be able to do that for me?
Yeah.
Yeah, just completely random.
Okay.
It'll be like an experiment.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
All right. First record I picked here is called Niagara. It's got a great pair of giant breasts on the cover here, as you can see. Hey, much larger than, I got small hands, so to me, I don't know, this is a large woman here. And I love this record. It's a really dope percussive drum record. This record is by Cannonball Adderley. It's called Love, Sex, and the Zodiac. It's written and narrated by Rick Holmes. And basically he goes through each sign of the Zodiac and talks about love and sex as it pertains to your particular astrological horoscope.
Interesting.
This record here, I really love it. It's called Dorothy's Harp by Dorothy Ashby. She was a famous session harpist, and this is a very funky record from Cadet. So it was recorded in Chicago in the late 60s. Just toss it over there. This record is Root Down by Jimmy Smith. This was infamously sampled by the Beastie Boys for their song Root Down. And it starts out with a bass line everybody knows. So, very, very dope and funky record. This record, I mean, we were talking about attaining cosmic consciousness, so I had to pull a record that's called Attaining Cosmic Consciousness. This is by the Rosicrucians, and, as people are familiar with, they were a certain society that was based upon esoteric practices, and people do relate them to such, Illuminati-themed other groups as the Knights of Templar and things like that. So this was the Order of the Rosicrucians.
Okay.
They pressed their own records in the the 60s and the 50s, and these are all narrated. The science of mysticism and meditation moods, really really cool stuff. Anyways, this record is called Afro-Disiac by Charles Keenard. It's a really really funky record, funky jazz record, and Charles Keenard is one of my favorite organists.
All right, so you picked 6 random ones out of 10,000, you said, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I picked 6 random LPs out of about 7,000 or 8,000 LPs. So I've got 2,000 plus 45s. So.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
And you could have picked any of them, right?
I could have.
Okay. We're gonna need to lay these out so that way everyone can see. Is it okay if we place them straight down the middle?
Yeah.
Just like that. Actually, we'll put them right there. All right. So we have 6 records. Let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Mm-hmm.
I have a die.
Okay.
I'm going to get you to roll it.
Okay.
And we're going to actually get that probably about here. I think you can see that.
Okay.
Actually, we'll just roll it right on there.
Okay.
So you'll take this die, you'll roll it, and whatever number you roll will eliminate it.
Okay.
So go ahead, just give it a toss, and make sure you say it out nice and loud. What number is that? 6. So we remove Jimmy Smith live.
Okay.
Roll again, please. Oh, 6 again.
How do we decide which record gets removed?
The number that's up. So you rolled a 6 already.
Okay. 5.
Removed Charles Keenard.
Yeah.
Did I say that right?
Yeah.
All right. Keep rolling till we have 1 left. 1. Cannonball. Love, Sex, and the Zodiac. 1 again. 1 again. 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's Dorothy's Harp. 5. Need to roll a 3 or that was a 3 or a 4. All right.
Okay.
So that was in the 3, but you moved it 4.
Okay.
Either way,
sure.
Remove cosmic consciousness. That leaves us with
Niagara.
Niagara, yeah. And I wrote down on this piece of paper before anything happened.
Okay.
I don't know. It was sitting there the whole time. Have you seen it?
Nope.
Notice it? What does it say?
Niagara.
Niagara.
Yeah. Looks kind of like you spelled it Viagra. But yeah.
Which would make sense. That.
Very cool. You got other pieces of paper hiding around here too?
I have 10,000 of them layered throughout your home right now.
Yeah.
So that way it would work no matter what.
Very cool.
All right. Now that worked, I'd like to delve a little bit more into your mind here, and I'd like to find out what, at the very root of it all, what motivates you to keep pushing and getting better and creating.
What motivates me? Well, that definitely fluctuates. Sometimes I don't feel motivated at all, and I just do whatever I want. I'm just like sitting in here playing records, or I go to the gym and work out. I mean, I'm motivated in a different way there to improve my physical health and physique. But sometimes you don't feel motivated, And that is a whole different mindset about the times that go by when, with your own work, sometimes you make so much money at one show, and you go to that no matter what, you have downtime. And in your downtime, sometimes it can, be a challenge to feel inspired and motivated. And in that time, I definitely, lift up to spirit. Spirit world is a big part of my life. And so I ask for that, for inspiration and guidance and things like that. Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah.
Okay.
For me.
And that's where everything is fed through.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I've had all sorts of manners of interacting with the spirit world, whether it's, journeys from my spiritual guide, or, relaying from deceased people, relaying messages to other people on the table and things like that. So I never know what's going to come out,
Right. Yeah.
You never know that Niagara was going to come out there. So I never know what's going to be said or done. But, as long as I feel that inner calling to keep on pursuing what I'm doing, then yeah. I mean, I felt it pretty strongly when I was young, though. I knew I wanted to be, even apparently when I was like 9 or 10 years old. I think my mom took me to a chiropractor, and I went in and I saw the chiropractor's room. There was a table there, and I was like, "Mom, do chiropractors make a lot of money?" And she was like, "Yeah." And I was like, "I want to be a chiropractor when I grew up." And I mean, I'm not that far off. I got my own room with my own little table, and so yeah, it's inner calling for sure.
Dr. Gaff.
Yeah. Dr. Gaff. That is, people call me out a lot. I mean, I'm not actually a doctor, but I would like to aspire to be one. And as my life continues to unfold, and I have, once my kids are out of the house, I'll have more time for my personal studies. So.
And how old are your kids now?
My daughter turns 16 in 2 weeks, and my son just turned 10. Yeah.
You're going to have a handful. If
you don't already. I do already. Yeah, I do already. She's a handful.
Excellent.
He's awesome. I mean, she's awesome too in her own way, but she's 16. So.
Yeah. Before we go any further with anything, I'd just like to acknowledge you on being a great father, a great acupuncturist, because my back is amazing right now.
Thank you.
You're a great just human being all around. You always are willing to help people and improve their lives, and you're very, very adamant about the mind and being able to expand your mind. Like every time I come over here and talk with you, you always have some sort of knowledge that I can just absorb.
Yeah.
And it's awesome.
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you very much for that.
Yeah, you're open to it too. So
yeah. Can you tell us a little bit about something small that you've done that has helped to shape who you are?
Something small that I've done that's helped to shape who I am. Something small. Yeah, I mean, I can think about different ways that I would definitely give lessons to this. When I was young, I read a lot of books, a lot of fantasy books and things like that. A lot of books about, wizards and things like that. Okay. What was interesting to me. And I read a lot, like I was in grade 3, I read the whole Chronicles of Narnia. And then I read, all these books by this guy called Robert Jordan. And then I read this whole series called The Belgariad. And they were each, similar themes in which a young hero would begin his journey into the world. And, they would be from the world that he knew, that was familiar to him, that was normal. It basically, a series of events occurred that he went out into a world that very much changed and became the unknown, in which he would, of course, unfold different abilities. And I don't know, maybe it's no coincidence that shaped my life.
You became what you read.
Yeah. But also, we grew up, I was born in 1977, and that was right when Star Wars came out. So I mean, it's the same thing, Luke Skywalker, fantasy, right? It's kind of programmed into you everywhere that you're going to start out this normal life as a young guy, and the whole world is going to change for you. So if you pay attention to those signs.
And you harness the Force.
Yeah, totally, man. I was so interested in the Force.
And now you're going into the Force in a whole different aspect. I know the Force is part of a movie and make believe to a sense.
Yeah.
However, just what you're able to do with your own mind and meditation, and actually a lot of people in the world are able to do this too. Like, we were talking about being able to control your body temperature just with your mind. And yeah, that's just amazing. I need to learn that for sure.
Well, there's breathing techniques that are involved with that as well. And, you know, so yeah, your mind regulates the different breathing techniques, of course, and that allows you to basically endure temperature extremities.
Yeah, because I'm not even doing anything. I'm just sitting here and I'm sweating.
Yeah. I don't know. No, I feel pretty dry right now.
Yeah. What is one of the accomplishments that you're most proud of?
One of the accomplishments I'm most proud of is being a dad when I didn't plan on being a dad. You know, just the life that I've lived, even being here in Saskatoon. I mean, I'm an American citizen, so let's just say when you ask people's opinions out of the world, it's not the number one place they would choose to live.
Yeah.
But I did. I stayed here to be a dad to my kids. I share my kids with their mother. I mean, my daughter lives here full time, but my son back and forth. And I've had many opportunities to move over the years for music or for educational purposes. And if being a dad wasn't my calling there, I would have moved. So, I mean, I guess, you know, feel like this time here and getting to know me, you can thank my kids for that, because I would have been long gone without them. And there's nothing against Saskatoon. It's just I was born in Washington, D.C., and, you know, I have the entire continent at my disposal. I'm an American citizen, so I could really live anywhere, and there's lots of opportunity.
Oh, no,
You've heard about my interests. You know, just like yourself, I love studying with masters and people who have, like, gone down the road before me, and I was like, I want to learn from you. It's like, you know, and there's certain ones you want to follow what they do. You know, you've read their books or you've seen their courses and workshops, and, you know, it's like, just like anyone, like, I want to be around them too. You know, it's like, you're the master, like, I'm ready, you know. But
yeah,
I'm eagerly awaiting a time when I can still learn, and there's always someone that knows more, you know,
so how did you find your mentors?
Well, the first one that I found, I was raised in Victoria, BC, and there's a really strong Asian population there, Japanese and Chinese. And we moved to Prince George for my grade 12 year. My parents moved there. So I lived there for my grade 12 year, and the year after that was when I started getting into meditation and things like that. I read some pretty influential books. One was called The Way of the Peaceful Warrior. Highly recommended. You would really like that. The other one was called The Celestine Prophecy. Both of them were made into movies. The books are far better. Of course. Then I read another one called Conversations with God. And I was really interested in something called Qi. Right? I was like, this was 96, 97. And I was like, Qi. You know, I'm like, I want to learn how to harness Qi. Right? Yeah. And my mom's mom, my grandma, is half Chinese, half Portuguese. So my mom's a quarter Chinese and a quarter Portuguese, and I'm an eighth Chinese and eighth Portuguese. So it's in my blood, you know, along my mother's lineage is Chinese. Okay. So maybe that's why I was so influenced by my Asian ancestry. Growing up, even at home, my mom learned all of her cooking from her mom, and my grandma died when I was like 1 year old. Actually, her spirit, you know, chatters to me sometimes. But anyways, you know, my mom learned all her cooking from her mom, so growing up was all Chinese food a lot of the time and stuff like that. But my mom was very Christian, so we didn't really get to connect with any of our heritage, even though at various times my mom lived in Hong Kong and different places. I knew when I started meditating in Prince George that it was time for me to move, and I was exactly what I'm talking about now. I was like, okay, I need to go to Victoria and find a master. This was like what my guidance was telling me, like, time to move back to Victoria. And I was 19, the hero starting his journey, right? I was like, it's time to get out of here. I need to move on to something bigger and better. I had to move back away from my parents and get out on my own journey. So I moved to Victoria, and I was looking through the back of the Arts and Culture magazine, and I saw something that said Tai Chi with Tech, like T-E-K. And I was like, tech. I'm like, that sounds pretty hip-hop. I'm like, Tai Chi with Tech. I'm like, that sounds dope. I'm going to go call this guy up now. Tech was a short, old Chinese guy, and he was, at the time, he was in his 50s, and, you know, I went and talked to him, and I had some pretty elaborate things I was studying and reading about. You know, one of them was auras and energy fields, and I started talking about this, and he was like, you know, many people come, and it doesn't matter whether they do Tai Chi or don't do Tai Chi. You have to do Tai Chi. And it really wasn't as spiritual as I thought at the time. I thought I was going to go into all these other worlds and like see the, you know, like the Matrix was going to open up before me. And it was pretty much the opposite. You'd have to do like stand in like standing meditation for like an hour without moving at times and things like that. It was really intense. So I learned a lot about mind training in that as well, for sure. So
Tai Chi. So you'd recommend that to people then, yeah?
I would recommend it to people. Yep. Not to everyone. For you said that you have a very yang constitution. That means physically active, powerful, expressive, warm, hot energy. So the Tai Chi would be a very good contrast to that. It'd be yin and cooling and reflective, internalizing. So it makes a great complement to when you work out and do all these active things, to have that cultivating aspect. And really what you're learning to do is cultivate your internal energy, your chi.
Right. Okay.
And to build up reserves of it that prolongs your youthfulness, and then that leads you to longevity and immortality, which was the search of the sages and the Taoists. Now, to a person that is already very yin, and, you know, they just kind of like how I was, they just want to be, say, they value things like vegetarianism and sitting around reading and meditating. They need to do things that are more yang, more expressive and energizing. So to that person, I would recommend something more like external martial arts, or going to the gym and running. You know, whatever it is that brings out the ultimate balance of the person is what I would recommend if they were coming to me and asking me. Yeah.
Right.
So I might not recommend them if they only had limited time and they were working a full-time job. I'd say Tai Chi is not so important for you right now. Why don't you go to the gym?
When you are meditating, is there, other than sounds or anything, like, is there anything in your own mind that you're focusing on to help get you to that point?
Yeah, meditation is very broad catchphrase. There could be all different types. I mean, I've gone for years before where I did Buddhist meditation, and that was all a mantra. Mantras to specific deities, you know, like Tara, the goddess of mercy, or the blue medicine Buddha. And they each have different mantras that you would recite over and over and over and over and over again. And that would put you into a different state of being. Now that's different than one-pointedness of mind exercises. That's very, you know, beneficial for people that lack focus and, you know, what you said before. And there's all sorts of different techniques and games you can do. You know, they all involve, one, aligning yourself. So you sit up, and, you know, a great one is that you put your feet flat on the ground and you put your palms face down on your knees and lift up your spine so that your back's not supported by anything. That strengthens your will right away, because, you know, you're not letting go. You've activated your willpower to keep yourself uplifted. Then your feet are flat on the ground, so that connects you with the earth. Palms face down. Wherever your palms face a lot of times dictates the flow of your energy. So face down brings you down to the earth. Palms up brings you up to the heavens. So, you know, very simple things like that. If you want to lift up, the best way, of course, so that you're not a floaty, disassociative type of person, is to always be grounded first. You know, they teach this in all martial arts. And you can do very, very simple exercises. My favorite one that I came up with is, whatever it is your age that you are, every day you count just to the number of age. One breath in, one breath out. So you said you're 27?
Yep.
So for you this year, it's 27 breaths every day. You just sit down. You can just sit on the edge of a seat like that. And, you know, they want to do so just that your sit bones are on there, and with your feet on the floor and palms face down, and lift up your spine. You can, different people agree or disagree whether you have your eyes open or closed. I feel that, you know, I'm not too worried that an assailant is going to come into my house and, you know, shank me or something like that. So I don't mind having my eyes closed.
Okay.
You know, and you know, especially when I've got a firm root on the ground. If a person is very dissociative, they may want to have their eyes open at first. That brings them to the present moment without them escaping off into their mind. And you just count 1 breath in and 1 breath out, and you just count 1 and then 2, 1 breath in and 1 breath out. And then 3. And you can learn to regulate your breath. That this could take you 10 minutes, it could take you 5 minutes. Now, of course, you think at only 27 breaths, you could do it in 1 minute, right? 1, 2, 3.
Right.
Obviously, the idea
Hyperventilate
is to learn to have it. I mean, as your age increases, you spend more and more time each day in meditation. When you're young, you should be doing other things in life. And, you know, for you live a very well-rounded, balanced lifestyle, you know, between the gym and your martial arts and your intellectual and pursuits and your passions, and then, you know, your life at home that you have. So as that increases, you gradually come into the inner worlds more and more, and you've built up a strong foundation for that. Now, of course, I'm not saying don't meditate for a half an hour to an hour if that's something that interests you, but a good groundwork is that. You know, another one is counting to 10, and you count 1 in and 1 out. And now every time another external thought comes into your mind, you have to reset over again at 0.
Oh, interesting.
So even if you get to 3 and then you're like, my foot itches, boom, start at 0. You know, if you get that and you're like, oh, I've got to call this person this day, you know, or you'll hear a voice that'll be like, you should do this, or you should do that, you should call this person, or, you know, or do you really have time for this? You'll hear all these things. The moment that comes in and registers to you, reset to 0. Now that one can be a little more challenging because you never know how long it's going to take, and that could be very dependent on the day.
I'd like to try that.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Do you meditate every single day?
Not actively that I'm going to sit in one spot every single day. I can't say no. I do that, yeah. But I definitely meditate on a regular basis, and I have done so in general since my late teens for almost 20 years. Now I've gone through phases of my life, like when, you know, my kids were just born and, you know, an active father and baby's crying and you're not getting sleep and you're off to work. I've definitely gone through periods where I was like, you know, not meditating regularly.
Okay.
But nowadays, yeah,
That's
for
good.
sure regular. You know, I've got my special herbs that I make into my specific teas and gather them, and I create a space for myself where I, you know, clear my mind, and then I'll get ready for my studies. That's the great thing about internal martial arts, like we talked about Tai Chi and even yoga. You know, the whole act of yoga, which is, you know, Jiva Mukti yoga. A lot of times people are going through asana practice and things like that. I would not say that counts. You didn't do an hour of meditation, but at the end, you know, shavasana, you're laying there. That's
very relaxing.
very meditative. Now your will isn't engaged, so that's a different type of meditation. That's letting go and being very totally yin, as completely yin as you can be.
Right.
So,
do you have a method of getting into the zone, so to speak? Like, for instance, if you're about to be on stage in front of thousands of people, and you get butterflies, like, what do you do to get your mind focused and in the performance zone?
okay, that doesn't really happen to me anymore, but it did. I tell you, I would get butterflies in my stomach, or I'd have to go take a shit or something like that. It's like, you gotta be on stage in 5 minutes, like, fuck, I gotta take a shit right now. So, you know, I'm in a club, I'm looking for the private bathroom and something like that, and, you know, you go crush one, and then you come up like, hey, I'm ready. It's like, for real though, it's true, and this, you know, a lot of my friends that I know, this is a constant thing for them. Being regular helps. So, I've definitely developed a few different breathing techniques and things like that, but there is a frame of mind. Like, my wife will, if I've got something to do or a show, and she starts talking to me, I'm just like not even listening to her. I'm like, you know what, babe? I'm like, I've got to be in a certain frame of mind right now. I can't deal with this. You know, if she brings anything up to it's just, it really comes down to holding your space. That's a big part of it, I would say. So I've never really thought of it in that way, but, you know, when people want to get in and get it to take away from where your mind frame is at, you have to be able to deflect that, you know, and not get caught up in anything that could be affecting you in a way that's going to take away from your ability to perform.
Very cool. I like that.
Yeah.
Is there any routine that you have?
There's not a specific routine that I have, no, other than my regular daily routine that I would recommend to everyone is drink plenty of water, plenty of fresh water throughout the day. I generally don't drink waters with my meals. I drink water before. I rehydrate in between and before each meal. So I'll drink a tall glass of water half hour before my meal.
Okay.
You know, so a lot of times people offer me water at the meal, and I just like sip on it. I don't really have too much. You know, certain teas or coffee I could have to help digest the meal. Other than that, I drink, you know, very, very specialized herbs. My favorite one is called red reishi. It's a mushroom, and that is known to increase your longevity and your spiritual potency and receptivity. So I've been taking that, you know, fairly regularly for a couple years now, and I would definitely say that I notice its effects. Yeah, I mean, they're all subtle. The tonic herbs, the way that they work is it's not fast like a drug, but as time goes by, cumulatively, you'll notice that, you know, I am different than I was.
Okay.
You know, so it changes you very, very slowly, your character and your nature. Definitely take time to learn to meditate, to cultivate your mind, and you want to do two. It's I'm inactive mode, or I call it yin mode, where I'm just blank. It's like, you know, people. I was trying to explain to my 16-year-old daughter that I've never been bored, because she's like, I'm bored. You know, I'm bored. It's like you take away her phone. It's like, I'm so bored. She'll stare at you like something's got to happen. I'm like, you know what? I've never been bored. I'm like, I've always been content to be where I'm at. Now, of course, if I down 3 cups of coffee and all of a sudden I might feel, you know, an anxiety or the caffeine coursing through my veins that is trying to propel me in an uneasy state. But, you know, your breathing can also bring you back to that too. So definitely learning lower abdominal breathing is a huge one. And there's different breathing techniques that you can do for that.
Is there any material you can recommend for breathing techniques?
Any material?
To learn about it?
I would definitely say, yeah, study yoga or qigong or tai chi, and they all have to do with abdominal breathing. Another, in traditional literature, it's called embryonic breathing, right? The embryo and back to the state of like a child. And if you notice a young child, they breathe with their belly. It's very soft. You know, you poke their belly, and their belly is going up and down and up and down. As we get older and we hold experiences in, we tighten up our lower belly, and we do upper chest breathing. This causes a lot of anxiety, other symptoms like insomnia, and all these things that can really be alleviated by learning to take a slow, deep, full breath. I mean, that's a huge one. Other techniques I've come up with is if I want to charge myself, you know, there's breathing. So I plug one nostril, I'll take a deep breath in, and I hold that, and then I imagine the breath coming down. These are called your Shiva and Shakti channels, the left and the right of your spine, and I'll take that breath all the way down to my lower sit bones, and then pump out the middle channel of my spine, and then with my mind guide it down, and then exhale it out the right. And I'll do the same. Deep breath into the right. With my mind, that goes all the way down to the base of my pelvis, and then I'll squeeze it, the energy up the central channel, and then back down with my mind, and then out the left. So then there's faster techniques that you can do. Pump breath is and then you dramatically increase the amount of oxygen that is available to your body, which is, you know, used to however you want to do it.
You're oxygenating your body.
Totally. Now, some of the things that are going to happen with that is you'll feel lightheaded fast. You'll have a rush of oxygen come to your brain, basically, and your body, and that, of course, you know, enlivens your whole being. So if I got to be in go mode, and I remember to do that, that's the thing about being conscious of these things.
Right.
Now, of course, when I'm in a social situation or I'm in a nightclub or something like that, someone's offered me a drink, you know, I might just be socializing, and I'm not even thinking about none of that, right? I'm just having a good time. I'm like, yeah, I'm ready to go on. Okay, yeah, all right. So other times, yeah, I might be very conscious in doing all these techniques and things like that.
Okay. Awesome. Well, thank you for sharing for that.
Yeah.
Before we wrap up anything here, I'd just like to maybe pick your brain about your top 3 books for a person who, actually, how about this? your top 3 books that you would leave behind for your kids to read when they are about to go into their adulthood. So maybe 20.
Leave behind and
yeah.
I know is anyone going to make them read it or
yes?
Yeah. They have to read it.
Yeah,
okay,
they have to read it and all the way through, and it's going to help their life hopefully in some way.
So in there, and that's like as they're entering adulthood.
Yes.
So The Way of the Peaceful Warrior was a great book. Phil Jackson, who used to coach the Chicago Bulls, at the time when Michael Jordan was in his prominent career, made the entire team read this book. And it's about the journey of a story of Dan Millman, who actually became a world champion gymnast, and he met an old gas station attendant named Socrates. And Socrates taught him all these crazy things, but he was, when other people saw him, he's just this silly old man that worked the night shift at this gas station in the 60s in Berkeley, California. Really, really cool book about finding yourself. And if I recall, that's where I think I heard first about things like Aikido and Tai Chi and things like that. So when I finished reading, I'm like, yeah, I want to learn Tai Chi too. Yeah, so that was
Peaceful Warrior.
Yeah, The Way of the Peaceful Warrior. And it was actually made into a movie. The movie was okay.
Yeah.
But
you said the book is better.
Yeah. I mean, I loved the book, because it was written really well and it filled my whole imagination with specific things. And yeah, the very, very influential book on my life at that time. And the funny thing was my dad told me to read it when I was about 15. And he's like, oh, you'd really like this book. And I was like, whatever, Dad, But then my friend recommended it to me a couple years later, and I was like, oh, this looks good. And then I was like, this is what my dad told me to read. Right?
Yeah.
Didn't read it because my dad told me to read it. Another one would be that book right there.
Ancient Wisdom of Chinese Tonic Herbs.
The Ancient Wisdom of Chinese Tonic Herbs, by Ron Teagarden, master herbalist. I got to meet Ron, and you tried some of his tinctures, the ginseng.
Oh, yeah.
He's the one that formulates and makes all these.
Cool.
They're all made by Ron Teagarden. And, a lot of people look up to them as he's one of the people that brought the art of Chinese tonic herbalism to the West.
Okay.
And really, really cool book. I mean, I use this knowledge all the time as reference for the tea that we're drinking, to the tinctures that we had. So
Which were great.
This has become a huge part of my day. I'm just studying up on the herbs and what they do, and I love experimenting with them and focusing on their effects for these very things you're asking about, whether it's going to the gym, how to enhance my performance there, or performance for constant flights, or for just trying to be an awesome dad.
Yeah.
Definitely. This is a huge desktop resource that I carry this book with me everywhere that I go. And I got to meet Ron and signed it here for Mike. Best of luck and happiness.
All right.
Really, really cool guy. The next book that I would recommend, is called The Magus of Strovolos. That is the story of a real life healer called Stylianos Attaining. Stylianos Attaining. And in the book he's called Daskalos, which means I think master healer.
Okay.
And he lived in Cyprus. And he had a series, a following of people, of groups, and he was well documented to healing people of a variety of conditions and ailments. And he is a very interesting character. He also acknowledged that his non-physical spirit guide teacher was the one who had the plan for him and the whole group and the unfolding of that. And he very much is involved in astral traveling, and with his disciples, they would meet up in the astral realm and he would take them on specific journeys and things like that. He also interacted with spirits at various levels. Some of the ailments that were affecting people would be, unhealthy spirits attaching to them, and he would have various processes in which he would separate the entities from the people, and they would miraculously be healed and things like that. So it's a very, very, very cool book. Blurs the lines, similar to The Way of the Peaceful Warrior, but even more so between our real world that we feel safe and comfortable with a whole other world that is superimposed onto this one that is affecting us at a deeper level of reality. So yeah, those three would be
All
cool
right.
ones. Some herbs, a young journey of a young hero and warrior, and one of an old master.
Awesome. Well, I'll write those down and I'll put them in the transcript of the show that'll be found on the website after the recording and everything. So
Awesome.
anyone that listens, they can get the list of those books and read them themselves. But Mike, can you, just as to wrap everything up, if you had to leave behind one thing, one track that represents who you were and everything else was deleted, what would that be?
One track, like one song?
Right.
That song is called Balak by Placebo. If you look over there at that record, you want to grab it?
Okay.
That record's called Ball of Eyes. Pretty interesting record cover, eh?
Yeah.
And Ball of Eyes. And this is from 1970 in Belgium. Is really, really dope jazz fusion with like prototype hip-hop beats, kind of. And Balak is on their third album called 1973. And I have the 45 of it, which means a little 7-inch record. All right,
Mike. Thank you very much for everything today and all the questions that you've answered and all the knowledge that you've shared with us and all the knowledge that I've gained today. Like, this is kind of selfish of me to be able to learn this much from someone so experienced, but I'm doing it anyways.
It's all good, young Padawan.
Yeah, awesome. Now, where can people find you?
Well, like online or in the real world, or
however you would like to be contacted.
I mean, musically online, my SoundCloud, SoundCloud the Gaff, or they can visit my website, thegaff.ca, Facebook, the Gaff page, that's on there, okay. Instagram, Mike the Gaff.
Okay.
That's if they want to explore the netherworld about me. I live in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. I travel the world, DJing, and also as a healer as of late too. Yeah, I get lots of requests to visit people one-on-one that are facing specific ailments as of late. So
excellent.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Thank you very much, and all right.
Cool, brother.
Cheers.
Yeah.